As a Laker fan, I imagine you're familiar with the game that goes on after they get beat, aka the blame game. Every time the Lakers get beat, regular season or postseason, and definitely more so postseason, fans will find one player, coach, or person to pick out to put a majority of the blame on for that loss. Last season, for example, definitely got pinned on Darvin Ham, and rightfully so. They are now former head coach, but this season it's more of a toss-up. Many have picked out either JJ Redick, Austin Reaves, or a combination of those two, fourth quarter execution, and or LeBron James or Luka Doncic, but a surprisingly large amount have indeed picked Austin Reaves, with many going as far as say they want to trade him after this playoff series. So with that in mind here, should they trade Austin Reaves, or what should their future look like with him? We'll talk about that and break it all down. But before we get too far into it, don't forget to check out G2A.com. They got your best new games like Monster Hunter Wilds, gaming gift cards, PC software, and much more. So be sure to check them out in the video description down below. But now getting back to our topic, and like I said, many are not happy with Austin Reaves following his rather poor play against the T-Wolves, and for him this is what a bad playoff series looked like, averaging 16.2 points per game, 5.2 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists per game, shooting 41% from the field and 32% from 3. No, definitely not great, but also I wouldn't call it terrible. Gotta factor in that he did have to match up with Anthony Edwards, and that's a matchup that maybe 3 to 5 defenders in the entire league can take on one-on-one, so I don't entirely blame him for that, especially when you factor in how much energy that took away from him. And then on top of that, a new report claims that he was in fact playing through an injury, suffering it in Game 3 and that happening to be a sprained toe, which led to him not being able to practice on off days and pretty much not being able to stay on his feet apart from actual game time. So that definitely did factor into it too. But even apart from this one bad playoff matchup or playoff series, is Austin Reaves now a bad playoff performer, which many fans now claim that he is and have included in their argument to trade him away. But in my opinion, that should not be part of their argument and does not in fact turn out to be true. Up until this point, and in the 21 playoff games that he played up until this season, he had been an incredibly good playoff performer, averaging a combined 16.9 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, and assists per game, on 47% from the field and 40.4% from 3. So yeah, very efficient, great scoring output, and not to mention being their 4th, 5th option, and not really their 3rd option for a majority of that time frame. So very impressive and definitely not a bad playoff performer. I mean, I'm going to take much more away from those 21 games than I'm going to take away from these 5 games during this playoff matchup. And all around, definitely not a bad playoff performer, much more of a great playoff performer compared to a bad one in my opinion. Or then talking about the regular season, also took a leap this season, which came after many said that he would quote unquote not get any better for probably the 4th straight year now, averaging 20.2 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, 5.8 assists per game, and 1.1 steal per game, all of which were improvements, and not to mention on 46% from the field and 38% from 3. Or then following the trade deadline, nearly 23 points per game, on 5 rebounds per game, and 5 assists per game. So no matter what way you cut it, definitely showing improvement year by year, getting better from a scoring standpoint, playmaking standpoint, and even efficiency standpoint too. And if you take that throughout the entire 4-year time frame of his NBA career, the guys went from averaging only 7 points per game, up to then 13 points per game, to then 16 points per game, to now averaging 20 points per game, or 23 following the trade deadline this season. Or from a playmaking standpoint, up from 1.8 assists per game during his rookie year, to then 3.4 assists per game, to 5.5 assists per game, to now 5.8. So again, consistent improvement, and it would be foolish to think that he's not getting any better. I think that narrative's pretty much dead. And well, then from a defensive standpoint, no, definitely not a great defender here, not anything close to a lockdown defender, but is he actually the worst defender in the NBA like many make him out to be, or even an actual terrible defender? Well, according to the numbers, no, he's not. Per defensive EPM rating, Austin had a negative 0.2 rating this season, which is comparable to guys like John Collins, Emmanuel Quickley, Brandon Ingram, even a guy like Santi Aldama, or even a well-known defender like Andrew Wiggins. So no, not a terrible defender, Even if you bring up the eye test, if he's actually matching up with somebody he should be defending, not a guy like Anthony Edwards or a top 10 player in the NBA, then he typically does fine for the most part. So no, I wouldn't call him a terrible defender, and that should be the number one reason for why they want to trade him or get him off their team. And then finally, from a contract standpoint, arguably the most important thing to factor in with a player, are they playing up to their contract? Are they playing up to their single season salary? And did Austin Reaves do that for them? Well, that would be a resounding yes in my opinion. This season he only made $12.9 million, and if you want to compare that to a different player, that would be comparing it to a guy like Obi Toppin, Cole Anthony, DeAnthony Melton, Kelly Olynyk, Josh Green, or Rashawn Holmes, all of which are in a range of only $300K away from him, and definitely did not provide similar production, not even close in my opinion. And well, that to me is really the main problem with trading Austin Reaves. I mean, if you're gonna trade him and talking about trading him and following NBA trade rules, what are you gonna get for him? Many comments have said they want to trade him for a center, but if you're gonna do that and actually make a 1-for-1 trade here, you're probably not gonna get a center anywhere close to his value. I mean, if we're comparing Austin Reaves' salary to a center next season, we're talking about trading for a guy like Rashawn Holmes, or then maybe a guy like Brandon Clark, if you consider him a center, Rob Williams, or then going all the way down the line here, maybe talking about a guy like Mo Wagner, all of which are not comparable in value to Austin Reaves, so then you have to provide additional assets with Reaves to simply get a center that might be worth it. And again, that is my main argument to not trade him. I'm not saying the guy's untouchable or that they should absolutely not consider a trade for him. If the right trade will come along, then sure, maybe consider it. But again, with the salary and how valuable his contract is to them, that's going to be incredibly difficult, especially for a center. You're going to have to add in more assets, not only another player and or salary with him, but then potentially draft picks too. So from a value standpoint, which is pretty much the most important factor when it comes to making a trade, I mean, remember back to a guy like Russell Westbrook, how did that contract value turn out for them and what did it take for them to get rid of it? Yeah, you definitely got to factor that in. And trying to find equal, if not better value in return for Austin Reaves would be incredibly difficult for them. And with that in mind here, I think they'll be much better off trying to adjust his role on their team, maybe bring him off the bench or have different players surrounding him in their starting lineup. Obviously got to keep Luka in there, obviously got to keep LeBron in there if he doesn't retire, which is not very likely in my opinion. But maybe try different guys like Rui Hachimura, trying him off the bench and putting a better defender than him in their starting lineup, which would help all three of Austin, LeBron, and Luka. And then of course replacing Jackson Hayes, not entirely from their team. I think he'd be fine coming off the bench, but probably not in their starting lineup again. Giving them a better defensive 5-man that would directly help all three of Luka, LeBron, and Austin. Giving them a better fit around them offensively that would also help them, and could definitely go a lot further than simply trying to get rid of and trade away Austin Reaves and trying to get better value than him, which in my opinion would not be the right route for them to take. I mean, again, other than potentially pulling off an insane trade in NBA 2K type of trade, getting a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo, maybe Bam Adebayo, I don't see a pathway to where they really get a major upgrade compared to Austin Reaves and compared to that contract value and overall value in general. From a team standpoint, from a fit standpoint, and from a long-term future standpoint too, as you've got to factor in their team after LeBron retires. But with all of that in mind here, what do you guys think? Where do you currently stand on Austin Reaves? Do you think the Lakers should trade him, keep him, or what exactly should they do with him going forward? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.